Nikki Bella unleashed on Paige in a brutal brawl. Good day, wrestling fans, and welcome back to the absolute most electrifying channel on the internet. If you thought the women's division was playing nice, think again, because Friday Night SmackDown just turned into a total combat zone. Paige came out to set the record straight on all the wildly delusional claims Nikki Bella has been spouting lately, and things went from zero to maximum hostility in about 2 seconds flat. Before we get into the verbal dynamite and the brutal physical fallout of this iconic confrontation, do yourself a huge favor right now. Smash that subscribe button and click the notification bell icon so you never miss a single piece of breaking news or backstage mayhem. Trust me, with the way things are heating up in WWE, missing even one episode is a huge mistake. Now, let us get right into the absolute demolition of Nikki Bella's narrative. For weeks, Nikki has been strutting around like a corporate executive taking credit for every single success in the women's locker room. She tried to convince the entire world that she practically invented modern women's wrestling and that Paige was simply leeching off the hype and prestige of the Bellas. But Paige walked out to that ring tonight with a microphone in hand and a giant reality check ready to deliver. She did not just refute Nikki's claims, she systematically dismantled them with the surgical precision of a seasoned veteran who is completely fed up with bad revisionist history. First off, Paige shut down the nonsense about who actually put in the work. She reminded everyone that she spent 8 agonizing years crawling, scratching, and fighting through injury after injury to return to a WWE ring entirely on her own terms. She did not ride anyone's coattails, she did not inherit a golden ticket, and she certainly did not need a reality television crew following her around to prove her worth. Watching Paige dismantle that leeching accusation was like watching someone hand a fraudulent tax audit straight back to the auditor with a stamp that reads, completely fake. Which brings us directly to the wild story surrounding that famous WrestleMania return, because the truth behind that phone call is pure comedy. If Nikki Bella thought history was going to remember her as the benevolent savior who handed out career charity, Paige just set those records on fire. Paige clarified to the entire WWE universe that when that WrestleMania return went down, it was not Paige begging for a spotlight. It was actually Nikki Bella frantically reaching out and asking for assistance. Paige laid out the facts without flinching, she stepped up, she carried her end of the bargain, and she routinely stepped in to keep the ship from sinking. In fact, Paige went line by line through their history to remind the crowd of who was actually saving whom inside that ring. She pointed out multiple instances where she had to step in and pull Brie Bella out of sticky situations, not to mention saving Nikki herself from getting pinned cold in the middle of the squared circle on more occasions than the Bella twins would ever care to admit on their best day. It was an absolute masterclass in setting the record straight, proving that being a team player is very different from being a helpless passenger. And that brings us to the real psychological core of this entire feud, because this is not about history, it is about absolute green-eyed jealousy. Paige did not hold back for even a fraction of a second when she pinpointed the exact reason Nikki Bella has been hurling threats and acting out in the media. It is not about respect, and it is certainly not about legal ownership of a brand. It is pure, unadulterated jealousy because Nikki realizes that the spotlight has shifted, and her spot at the very top of the mountain is officially slipping away. When you spend years thinking you own the building, watching someone else come in and command the audience with zero effort is a very bitter pill to swallow. Paige capped off her incredible verbal defense with an absolute mic-drop declaration that echoed through the entire arena. She warned Nikki that she is not going anywhere, her comeback is permanent, and she plans to occupy this ring for a very, very long time. She looked straight into the camera, claimed SmackDown as her absolute house, and left zero doubt about who truly controls the narrative moving forward. The atmosphere in that building was purely electric, proving that when real passion meets undisputed facts, the truth always hits harder than any steel chair ever could. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time right here on Wrestling Rush News.